Okay, so recent news in the MCU is that rather than a reboot, they're calling it a reset. That's going to happen in the near future, I believe, after the upcoming Avengers films. Doom Dynasty, Secret Wars, or whatever they're calling it now, which I believe have been pushed back, by the way, which is no surprise to me. A lot of people are talking online about, Kevin Feige mentioning the situation involving the switch between Kang the Conqueror to Doctor Doom, saying that he had started talking with RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., about this idea before Ant-Man 3 ever came out. Uh, I don't know. I mean, this has been something that has been talked about ever since the Jonathan Majors thing first started in regards to the MCU pivoting from Kang after believing that he wasn't Thanos. I don't know. I'm not saying that these conversations didn't happen, but it just seems like a massive pivot. I mean, not even mentioning Jonathan Majors, but saying that in regards to Kang's actor or this character, it's like, okay, he shall not be named from He Who Remains, if you will. But it just seems to me like I don't know. Even though Ant-Man 3 was not a good movie a lot of people felt the same way, hence the box office returns not being that great. The only good thing was freaking Kang. Jonathan Majors just killed it with that role. And his defeat via ants and Ant-Man and Wasp kicking his ass made no sense whatsoever. It just felt like you had a great character in a bad movie. And this Kang is supposed to be like the worst Kang. And by that, the biggest and baddest. Yet he had one of the worst defeats, and it made no sense because it's really hard to think, oh yeah, we were always going to do this, guys. This was a fake out. This was kind of, hey, remember in Dragon Ball Z where the androids 19 and 20 in the manga was supposed to be the original 17 and 18, but then one of Toriyama's, old editors said that no, old guy in a fatso, so then he changed it to 17 and 18. No, these are just two kids. Who's going to believe they're big and bad? Then he switches to Cell. Yeah, it's kind of like that. We had one idea, but then we decided to pivot. I would be inclined to believe that if this was only one movie. If, Majors played Kang and Ant-Man, and that was it, and they're like, oh yeah, based off the, lack of tickets and lack of interest, we're going to change directions. Okay, that makes sense. But two things. Number one, that movie came out. Aside from the terrible CGI, Kang, Jonathan Majors' performance was the standout of the entire film. That was the only good thing I recall people talking about that film. Everything else, even when people did reviews calling it one of the worst MCU movies, not as bad as Thor Love and Thunder, but one of the worst MCU movies of all time, one of the inklings of positivity that was brought forth in the commentary, reviews, breakdowns was Jonathan Majors. Then in Loki, you get to the end of season 1 where He Who Remains pops up, and he killed it. I know some people didn't like that episode because there was a lot of exposition and whatnot, but Major's performance is what sold that episode for me. Yeah, it was just a lot of talking and sitting at a desk, but he put on one heck of a performance. And then to take it a step even further, you get to the post-credit scene of Ant-Man 3, and to say that, oh yeah, he's not a Thanos, and oh yeah, we were always going to shift direction. Why would you show the Council of Kangs with thousands of Kangs popping up, hinting at a universal war, multiversal war? Bro, just no. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that it's not possible that Doom was always going to be like the wild card, like he'll show up at the last minute to stop Kang, but to just pivot so hard, I just feel like this was the PR answer to act like, oh yeah, well we had this grand plan. Nah, man, I don't buy it. I think nah. I just think that let's keep it 100. Even even if the Jonathan Majors scandal didn't happen, maybe the shift would have, but I think that the rate in which they had to shift things so quickly, yeah, I think that's probably the case, because they basically put the entirety of the MCU on Majors' back. He was essentially going to be put in the Robert Downey Jr. position after RDJ left at the end of Endgame. That was my thought process, because they were building so much around his not character, but characters, because obviously he was going to play every single variation of Kang. Also, I enjoyed Victor Timely in Loki season 2. As someone who grew up with a speech impediment when I was younger, you know, his stuttering and whatnot, that was real. That was real. They were going to do so much with him, but due to that situation with that ex-girlfriend of his, it all came crashing down. And if I'm not mistaken, was he ever charged with anything? Because didn't that girl like drop the charges or whatever? And it's like, too late now. You just ruined the dude's career and life. And even if he's getting, you know, somewhat of a comeback, it's not going to measure up to where it was beforehand. Because this dude was a rising star, but then just fell from the sky before he can even get to the heights of his career. Because we all know, if you are someone who is on the trajectory to reach fame, or maybe you were star in the 90s or early 2000s, but you know your lights dimmed a bit, get into a superhero movie, especially if it's a role that's not just a one-off appearance. Oh man, you're going to be good. You're going to be set. But Nah. I don't truly believe that this was the long-term plan. I just feel like this was maybe something where they were going to have Kang. They should have at least finished up the entire saga, the multiverse saga at least, because you literally dropped Kang Dynasty. That was the title of the first Avengers film since Endgame, and then all of a sudden, we're going to change it. So I don't fully buy it. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe. And Feige, you're known for wearing hats all the time, but just stop the cap, dude. Stop the cap.